After putting together an undefeated 6-0 record on her amateur career, my next guest makes her move to the pro rankings when she faces someone in her pro debut at Fury FC 88 on March 24th. She's no other than Alivia Bierley. How's it going today, Alivia?
Oh, well, it's definitely going, been prepping and getting ready. Just excited to finally step up into the pro ranks and make my debut.
And, that pro debut's been long coming, 6-0. Most by finish. I think it's like 4 by finish, 2 by decision, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
And 5 of those under the Fury FC banner, be it, the Fury FC name or the Challenger Series. But either way, still Eric Garcia's team. And, as I was prepping for this, I had 2 names to work with. You kind of hinted there's more than 2. And now we're looking for a 5th at this point.
Yeah.
How frustrating has it been to finally get to this pro fight?
Well, so originally we were trying to make the pro debut in November of last year, and they were having trouble matching me up for a pro fight. And luckily Madison stepped up, and I'm very thankful that she did, because that was one heck of a banger. I mean, it was a very fun fight. I felt it for sure for the next week afterwards, but here we are. And since I've agreed to do the fight, in March, we've now gone through 4 girls that have, agreed to do it. And then all 4 have backed out for various reasons. None were injury related. So it's very frustrating, because for me, like, I just want to fight. I'm not trying to cherry pick. I am not, I'm not running from people. I'm not trying to pad my record. My goal is to get to the UFC and to get the belt around my waist and to be the best in the world at my division. And I know that to do that, you have to be willing to say yes to people that you might not want to fight or might not be an easy win. And unfortunately, not all women feel that same way. So it is very frustrating, because I know what I want out of this sport, and I know, the work that I'm putting into it, no matter who's the other person. The most recent girl that I agreed to fight had already fought 7 pro fights. So I felt confident that that was going to stick. And I found out today that she is deciding to not go through with the fight. So it is a little frustrating, but it just means that I'm doing something right. Um, as frustrating as that might be, it's also encouraging too.
Yeah, it's definitely well said there too. Many others would be not as kind as you just were. They'd be a little more. There'd be a lot of censoring probably in their statement, but it's completely understandable, and it kind of shows, even the respect to the sport itself that you have as well, because otherwise you'd be really mouthing off as what's going on. And I mean, even if you did mention last November, you even said in your post fight that was supposed to be your pro debut, and looking aside, it looks great to start the year with the pro debut, and then start anew and build up from there. And now we're just waiting for someone to accept the challenge.
Yeah.
And and even talking throughout this, I had a bunch of scheduling problems on my end. You're super busy, so it's not only like are you planning for a fight, you're just working nonstop, and you have all your other outside commitments too. What's it like to basically like try to balance 2 full careers at the same time while still staying like level minded?
It's and I think that's the other part of it. I think that, adds a little element of frustration, I guess, to it, because I do work 6 days a week and 55 hours a week between 2 cities. So, when I'm getting up every morning around 5:30, 6 a.m., and I'm doing my conditioning, my strength training, and my sauna before work, and then working from 8 a.m. until 6:30, 7 p.m., and then going to MMA from 7:15, 7:30 till 9:30 p.m. Day after day after day after day. It is a choice, and it takes a lot of mental, physical, emotional discipline and effort and planning. I have to drive up to Austin twice a week, because I have work that I do up there as well. And so that means getting up even earlier and having coolers with meal preps. And so it adds a little extra element of juggling. But the way that I see that is, it just means that when I do finally get to that point, where I don't have to juggle and balance everything, I know that I've built up the mental discipline and mental toughness to do that. And I think that that's kind of part of my edge is I overcome adversity all day, every day, just to get to do what I love. And I know that it's going to take a lot to get into my head mentally. So and I think that it also is the structure. It fuels every day. I get up out of bed with a sense of purpose, and I know what I want, and I see the writing on the wall, and so I just got to keep putting in the work, and the time and the work and the time and the work. And that's one thing I'm not afraid of, is putting in the work.
And you kind of shared it, and you kind of just shared it there too. Like, it shows. Like, people don't want to work 20 hours a week, and you're doing 55. Like, that's
Yeah.
just, and that's 55 just at the day job. That's not counting
That's
the
not training. Oh,
gym.
that's
And
not considering training. Yeah, no.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, my next question kind of feels kind of funny to ask. When you find a minute of downtime, like, what do you do? Do you have a minute of downtime?
Usually like I'm scarfing down some food really quickly if I have free time. But no, so I just recently got engaged, and so obviously, and I have two dogs. So any free time that I get, is spent with my boys. And I try to be very present, because it isn't a lot of free time that I do get. And that's why, I just have to be very diligent and very structured about making sure that I make time for those things, and that I don't have a lot of downtime to just chill and lay on the couch. And I think you realize how much time you have in the day whenever you set your alarm, at 5 or 6 a.m. And you just have to make that choice, like, to get out of bed no matter what I feel like, no matter how tired or hungry or sore or exhausted that I am. So I do love, I love spending time with my family. I love being outdoors. I'm lucky and fortunate and blessed to be in Texas, where the weather is pretty agreeable the majority of the year. So anytime that I can be out on the trail or hiking, swimming at the pool, I do enjoy those type of things as well. And I think food is one of my passions in life. So it's whenever I do get the opportunity to spare a few calories, then you probably catch me somewhere eating chicken wings.
One of my guilty pleasures. Wings are definitely my Saturday night UFC meal. But focus on your career as a fighter. Like, you kind of mentioned UFC, like, and I mean, I guess you kind of already answered this question. I was gonna ask what your goals are. You already said you want to have that bantamweight strap around your waist.
Yeah.
So, like, like, how about, like, as a whole, like, when you get to that stage, do you plan on still being the day job too? Like, there are fighters who still do that day job, like Miranda Maverick. She still works at Hershey's as a scientist. So, like,
Yeah.
what are your goals there when you make it to the next stage?
Well, and I kind of back up a little bit. So funny, like, for me, I am very goal oriented, and I'm somebody that, I'm not afraid to set big goals. Actually, after it's probably gonna sound silly, but after my second amateur fight, um, I went out with some of my friends afterwards, and yeah, we had a few shots. But I remember writing, and I still have the picture to this day, where on the receipt of our little tab, I signed it, because you have to sign your anytime that you pay for anything. And below it, I put future bantamweight UFC champion of the world. And back then it was like, we kind of laughed about it and whatever, but I was serious, and I don't see why that can't be me. Obviously, I know that I've got a lot of work to put in, but I'm going to get there. I don't, as long as physically and health allowing, like, there's no reason why in enough time I don't end up fulfilling that receipt at the bar. So hopefully they held on to it. So that would be super cool. But I think for me, like, once I obviously get to that point, I'm someone, I love the fitness industry, and the rewarding part about my job is I get to help people live healthier lives, a healthier lifestyle, and the influence. I first got into MMA because I loved winning and competing and the physicality of the sport. And since being in the sport, I've come to love the influence and the networking and the positive impact that I get to make through, like, meeting new people, and really specifically just, like, all the women that I get to meet and inspire and encourage and motivate along the way. Because we're all battling our own, day to day stuff. My day to day might be different than your day to day, but at the end of the day, the thing that I love the most about this sport is just how it brings people together. And, there is a mutual respect that I do have for everybody that steps into that cage with me. Obviously, when we're in there and the door is shut, it's me versus you, and only one of us can get our hand raised. But leading up to and immediately after, it's, it's just a mutual level of respect. So as far as like my long-term plans and goals, I want to be able to still continue to, share my passion of health and fitness and weightlifting and sports and MMA with other people, because, whether or not you want to ever be someone that does step into the cage and actually fight somebody, or whether you just, want to learn self-defense, or whether you want to lose some body fat or build some muscle or just be healthier and have more energy, that's something that I feel like is bigger than just me. And so, if I do get the opportunity to still get to, do both and help people live healthier lives, then that's definitely not something that I can't see myself doing. As long as I'm happy and feel that I'm making a difference, then, I'll still continue to do that.
And that makes a lot of sense too, because when you get to that stage, you're running the same issues that you're running now, where opponents talk a lot of people will say fighters want to fight until a contract is offered, and then
Yeah,
they're busy
a lot
that
of
weekend.
keyboard heroes out there for sure.
So normally I'd loop back and ask about your opponent one more time, but we don't have one. So I'm gonna try not to throw bad juju on this, but hypothetically, say for somehow Eric does not find an opponent for next Sunday. Are you ready to stay in camp and go to a later card since Fury
Absolutely.
does run?
I mean, I have two teammates that are on the card still, Smoke and Marcel Mickens, right? So I'm in camp if they're in camp. Like, we're a team, we're family. I'm gonna be in the sauna with them regardless of whether I have an opponent or not, because I think that's just what a good teammate does. And the way that I see it is, even if I get to throw some hands, in the cage on next Sunday or not, I'm still getting better. And whether or not there's a fight lined up or not, I'm going to be in the fight mindset, maybe with a few extra calories. No need to be starving myself, like, at least right now. However, I think for me, I know that you ain't got to get ready if you stay ready. So I'm at the point probably in my career where I'm not going to get the perfect 6-week notice camp. I'm going to have to take what I can kind of get and be ready for when the opportunity arises. But again, I think that just gives me an edge, and not all women are going to want to do that. So as frustrating as it is to have people pull out, I think that only gives me an opportunity to set myself aside as somebody who is about it and who isn't afraid and who wants to be here and who's ready. So, Dana White or whoever's watching this, just that's the kind of athlete that I am. That's what you're going to get.
That's the best way to even work. Normally another cheesy question I go back through is kind of like explain why someone should tune in. You kind of answer that there too. You're a fighter who wants to fight, unlike a fighter who says they want to fight.
Yes.
And I've seen Eric pull some things out. My buddy Zach actually is headlining the card next Sunday, and he's fought. Right? Borrego's fought an opponent over 2 weeks. Like, he's fought one Sunday, and then 2 weeks later he fought another guy.
Wow.
So like Eric can get things done when fighters work along with it.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and I'm very fortunate. I know he's gone to great lengths and offered, a good amount of money, which I'm sure, is not normal. And so I recognize their effort, and I only have gratitude and appreciation for Fury. They've been very, they've been great. I mean, I got the opportunity to fight 4 times last year. In 11 months, I got 4 fights, which, as a woman and as an amateur woman, that's not very common. So I know that if anyone can do it, it's going to be him. And if not, then I'll be ready for April.
And that's a great mindset there too, especially, and kind of you said too, like you really don't see the female fighters being able, not even, I don't want to say not able to, but not able to find opponents to fight 4 times a year. And unless they're jumping around from promotion to promotion to promotion.
Yeah.
So for him to do that all under the same banner is another reason why Fury's becoming one of the top, I hate saying feeders, but a feeder to the UFC.
No, absolutely.
But I'm going to pass the mic to you, because even without an opponent, you still have sponsors and supporters that are there.
Yeah.
When opponents show up, when they don't show up. I'm going to pass the mic to you to kind of shout those guys out, and then we'll loop back to close things up with not an opponent afterwards.
Okay. So yeah, no, and I do, appreciate my sponsors. First and foremost, my coaches in my gym, RPBJJ and Pete's Brat Muay Thai. Coach Pete and Coach Ray have been in my corner now, since I moved to San Antonio, and we've made a lot of progress, and we're just getting started. So the longer you guys wait to fight me, the scarier and the worse it's going to be when you finally do. And then I've got a lot of great sponsors, a TMH, Kirk, he does all of my like apparel, my merch. So definitely, check out the merch. He's got some super cool drops that came out. He always puts together my fight kits. Since being in San Antonio, I've gotten to work with Total Body Region. They do a lot of my like recovery, because as you know, sports is MMA is hard on your body. Rocks discount, supplements. They have kind of kept me fueled, through the cuts and making sure that I'm getting, the right type of nutrition to do it safely and to still be able to perform, because it's not just about making weight. It's about making weight and being able to perform the next day. True North. Every time that I walk out, I'm looking drippy with some nice kicks. Stay tuned for the kicks that I'll be walking out in for my next one. He's gotten something special prepared. So True North, definitely all love for them. Gosh, there's a lot of them. Bad USA, another local San Antonio hype. They had an amazing walkout kit for me to walk out into with all my sponsors. Live Oak, who also they work with Fury a lot. They work with Zach Borrego and some of my teammates. So Live Oak Vodka has really been helpful and supportive, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them. I have some sponsors from back home in Kentucky, Paps Photography, as well as OBH Construction. So very fortunate that I have, people from my hometown that believe in me and support me all the way from Kentucky. Gosh, just go down through the list. Famous Amos Juice. Uh, every time that I'm, in the area, they hook up with the protein acai bowls and my juice cleanses, just to make sure that again I'm primed and ready to go. There's a lot that this sport does require from you. Kendra Lust is one of my newer sponsors, and she has been very supportive and has taken the time. She's got a lot on her plate, and she's definitely been very supportive. I've worked a lot with KO reps, and they've backed a lot of my fights recently, and made sure that I've had a lot of opportunity to meet other sponsors that are interested. Just recently got with Bailey and Bear Construction, which is up in Austin. So they've one of the newer sponsors that I'm working with. I get my meal prep done through Quadier Fitness. He was actually someone that I met through LA Fitness. Amin is kind of one of a good friend of mine that's been very supportive from the start, before I even started to get the wins underneath my belt. I do have a mobile massage, Myoscape, that every fight camp makes sure that we work through all the knots and the kinks. And I mean, I could just go on the list. I'm very blessed to have been able to meet so many, and that's one thing again about the sport is so many people get brought together, and it's so supportive, and there's a lot of people that want to, continue to support and to, to just help me chase my dreams. And it does take that. It's an expensive sport. It's expensive in terms of money, your time, your body, your energy. So there's a lot that does go into all of that, and I don't want to miss anybody. So I'm kind of like checking off the list there, but so definitely, if you've supported me in the past, if you're supporting me for this one, thank you. And big shout out to my family at home. My sister got to be a ring girl for one of my fights. My best friend flew in and was a ring girl for one of my fights. My mom's flying in for this one. So yeah, a lot of love and support, and thank you to everybody that's, whether it's encouraging messages, whether it's my teammates that are there every day letting me wail on them at practice. So very fortunate to have gotten the opportunity to have such such supportive friends, family, support system, all of the above.
That's awesome. That list is amazing for someone who's just making their pro debut too. Normally, like I talk to people, there's like three. And they're like, and then mom and dad. Thank you.
I know.
But
I'm sorry it took up so much time.
No, I'd rather you guys, because I live and breathe the regional MMA. I know there's not much there. These are the guys who are actually like kind of making it a little easier to actually put the work in, because the masseuse, the meal prep, and all that's taking time and health involving there. That's bigger than anything financial.
Oh, absolutely.
But I want to thank you for your time, especially like I said today. My schedule has been a foobar beyond belief, and you worked with that. I highly, greatly appreciate you kind of moving everything around to make this work for tonight. Now that we just need the MMA gods to do the same thing and get you an opponent for next Sunday. But regardless, everyone tune in next Sunday, March 24th, Fury FC 88 on UFC Fight Pass. Prelims start on, I think the Amis start on OnlyFans now. Then it goes to YouTube. Then Fight Pass.
UFC Fight Pass, yeah.
But you're gonna have an opponent. It's gonna be on Fight Pass, and everyone's gonna watch it.
We're putting that out there, yes. Putting that out there. So if you are a bantamweight and you want to make some good money and make weight, I promise we'll hug it out at the end. It'll be over soon, but we'll hug it out at the end, and you'll get paid for it. So
thanks again for your time, and best of skill on the debut that's gonna happen on March 24th. Thank you.
Thank you.